the main reason why I want to make a video like this is because I don't want to say that just because I'm using this, it's necessarily good. Although I have been using it in other aquariums, but that's not enough evidence just based on the fact that the plants are growing and nothing else is dying, that basaltic dust is beneficial in a certain point that is profitable for you to have. Also, I'm going to be telling you step by step and item by item of what I'm going to be using in this biotope. Biotope inspired is not going to be a real biotope. Of course, I'm going to be using lava rock pebbles. I'm going to be using basaltic dust, laterite. I'm going to be using some like this substrate over here. You don't find this stuff in the Scarlet Body's environment, right? So I would rather call it a biotope inspired aquarium with a thick, very thick substrate and a set of things that I'm going to be using, right? And I think there's a room here for a set of experiments in order for us to test if basaltic dust really has these beneficial properties of trace elements and minerals that plants can actually use and perhaps not cause any damage to the environment. Maybe set a few aquariums not in the same atmosphere, because I don't know if this will leach anything at all in the water column. So it would necessarily need to be separate environments with identical to similar parameters, right? It would need to follow rules such as thickness of substrate or water parameters, temperature, place, light intensity, light period, routine, plant size and species and things like that, for us to be able to test and acquire relevant data from. But the important thing is, I'm going to be using this anyway. I'm going to be using laterite, basaltic dust as the base layer, which I am assuming that it's going to provide enough nutrients for the long-term period of this biotope-inspired aquarium, together with this and a mix of sand for the top layer. Of course, I'm going to be using this. I never used this before. This apparently is mycorrhizal symbionts that can enhance plant performance. I studied my college before just for conversation. I think it's going to be worth it. I think it's going to be very beneficial. I don't think how am I going to address this. I'm not sure if I can see this under the microscope after the aquarium has established itself. I've heard that this is going to take a while. Well, also I'm going to be incorporating some leaf litter in between all substrates, crossing all layers, right, of the aquarium substrate, which I think is going to be very beneficial and provide some room and transition, some railroads for the microorganisms to move between layers, right? I'm going to be separating the base layer, laterite and basaltic dust, with a mesh, just to be sure, right? I don't want this to leach into the water. I'm going to be using several inches of thickness above that, but just to make sure. I don't want anything to compact as well. And I think that's it. I'm going to be using a lot of lava rock pebbles. You can't see anything. I'm going to be using some driftwood, like I said before. I'm going to be using some river rocks. But I'm really interested in doing some experiments on lava rock dust. Setting up a few environments with similar conditions. Actually, it would be better to provide us environment with identical, experiment with identical environments, right? So this can actually be a variable, which I think it's going to be worth it. I think it's going to be providing us relevant data if that is useful or not. And I don't have enough time to do it before preparing the biotope inspired aquarium, right? I cannot call it a biotope at all. But I think it's going to be very interesting, and this is what I'm going to be focusing on the next month or two after doing this preparation for the biotope inspired aquarium, because I know that I have to set up the substrate. And for this to work, I have to leave it there for a few weeks or so. It's written here somewhere. I remember that I saw it on the internet that you You have to set it up, set the entire substrate, and then using this syringe here, you place it on the middle layer, not on the base layer. I thought it was on the base layer. In the middle layer, where most of the plant roots is going to be at, is going to be developing and creating these structures, because that's what mycorrhiza is for, right? It's not that it is for, but that's what it helps with. The roots and this signaling and nutrient transportations, right, between all this rhizosphere, if I may call it. But yes, I think this is going to be a very interesting experiment for me to do, and for you guys to, for the internet, for the whole world. If you're wondering, how can I improve my aquarium? How can I make it better? How can I make plants grow better? Maybe a slight change, or maybe something like as you know, as little as this. If it's helpful, I mean, why not to show people? Why not to talk about it? You know, it's gonna be filterless. I'm not gonna be using a filter. I don't plan on doing water change or too much maintenance. Let's see how that goes. I'm planning on having 3 to 4 fish in there only. Scarlet bodies, maybe 1 male, 3 females, maybe more. Scuds, shrimps, perhaps snails. I don't know what I can do with that. Only time will tell. So if you're interested, please subscribe and follow these experimentations. It's gonna take a while, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be interesting. I'm still dealing with this shrimp project that doesn't seem to, doesn't seem to be fast. Been waiting for you saw that some plants are flourishing again, which is cool. It's gonna take a while. It's taking a while now, amongst other experiments, such as the substrate right here. This substrates over here. This is an experiment. If you follow me on Instagram, different types of substrate with similar thickness and pretty identical environments. How can it? How will it affect plant growth and overall environment? Right. I think it's a very nice experiment. I have some bucephalandras, environmental tests, mosses, a few experiments going on. That's why I do a lot of experiments, because they take time. This is not a fast-paced hobby at all. But yeah, thanks for watching, and maybe it will be helpful in the future.